Well, hello. Thank you for joining me for Penelope's Chinwag. Whether this is your first episode or whether it's your 44th, you're most welcome. I have a chinwag with you about all different things. This week on the agenda, yes, we've got our usual fascinating fact. We've got a little chat. I went round to see Mum today, but we didn't film anything. So that will be for next week. We know we're going to be starting at 1960. And she's going to play us out again, I think. So that's a joy. She's enjoying, oh yes, I've thought of that and thought of that. So yeah, I think that's going to become a regular feature, her playing us out after a little chat. So it's just me this week. As I said, a fascinating fact. I've got a few bits here to show you. Something from the past, from my hamper. And, well, she's sitting here looking at me. Shall we go straight into that, what I've been making? And shall I tell you what? I've made jumpers, sweaters, cardigans, you know, clothes for my children, whatever, since I was so young. But making these toys, I started making this, knitted animal friends. And what I loved was that she calls them heirlooms. Well, yes, hers might be heirlooms, but I would say they're tricky to make. And this is why I've never made toys. I'm not a toy maker. And I have watched somebody who does make toys, and they do say, you know, it's not something, it's not easy. You have to have several goes at doing this, the face, several goes at doing that, and I have had several goes. But she's looking at me. I'm relatively happy with her. And you know what, as I started putting her together, I made her clothes and I was thrilled to bits. If it's your first time, let me show you what I'm talking about. Tilly the hare. And yeah, I wanted her to be like this. You know, if I could have bought Tilly the hare naked, I would have loved knitting her clothes because her clothes are exquisite. But making Tilly the hare, well, that's a different ball game. And I did her body, fair enough, fair dues. I did her legs, I was happy. And then I started putting her arms on, and I felt nervous. I felt very nervous because I was getting to her face, you see. And I thought, supposing my Tilly isn't as beautiful as this Tilly. I mean, how's she going to feel? It's all down to me, how she looks. And I thought, that's why you don't do toys, because it's such a responsible job. You know, it's not just like knitting a sweater and then it's how you wear it. Yeah, do you want to see her? She's a bit shy. I mean, it's her first time of seeing anybody. As I said, I'm thrilled with, I'll show you her cardie. I'll show you the back of her first. Here she is. I'm thrilled with her cardie. She goes down the allotment. She looks well dressed. She's got French knickers on. Here they are, look. All lacy at the side. Oh, you're getting a peep of her now. Yes. She's well endowed with her hare's tail. And here she is. Oh, here she is. Now come on, say hello, Tilly the hare. This is my Tilly the hare. She's quite cute, isn't she? Oh, were the buttons right? I found them in my button box. Oh, did I do her mouth okay? I think it could be better, couldn't it? But then wabba-sabby, you see, look at me. You know, I'm not the perfect woman, am I? Yeah, so Tilly, I'm sorry, you're not the perfect hare. Because perfect hares, maybe they stand up, maybe they don't. But Tilly's definitely move about a bit. So this is Tilly. Anyway, I've enjoyed making her. I know. I think I chose the hardest one with the long floppy ears. But there we are. There she is. She's got white soles to her feet. I've stuffed her with something I had, kapok. It's the old-fashioned, you know. It's cotton, and so she's quite squidgy. Yeah? Yes, you're all right, aren't you? You're all right. See, have I sewn her head on right? You know, is it too floppy? Oh, there's a lot to this. Here's her little dress. Okay, I won't undo you too much. So there she is, with her lovely tail and her French knickers. Oh well, so she's made her debut. Yes, I think her mouth could be a little... Well, you see, this is how you go with them. I'm sure other people who make toys are exactly the same. You think, oh, I could do this, I could do that. But I'm very happy with her clothes. So next, I have got the wool for... You sit there. Yes. I have got the wool for the hedgehog. I'm going to try the hedgehog. What's her name? Let's have a look. Of course, I've got to make the dog too. Here she is. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Holly the hedgehog. They have to be so careful when they get dressed in the mornings. Yeah. Life's tricky with prickles. And I haven't got long ears, so it might be a bit easier. Of course, she's got prickles, but prickles might be easier than long ears. So that's what I'm going... Oh, she's got shoes. That'll be a little chum for Tilly. Yes, she is cute. Gonna sit there, Tilly? She's got this melancholy look, haven't... Now, come on. Come on, that's it. See, maybe her head needs to be... Oh, I don't know. Here we go. She's supposed to be an heirloom. She'll be... Once she's worn in a bit and got settled here, she'll be all right. So, that's what I've been making this week. So, shall I go on to a blast from the past? Well, I took something out the hamper. Pete's dad was... he got married again when he was 82. He was a very dapper gentleman. He was a court hairdresser, and he had the most wonderful soft hands. And he cut all our hair, and he died in 2000 at the age of 92. Marjorie had never been married. She was a matron of a London hospital, and if you worked in those days as a matron, you couldn't be married, so she never married. And I came across a few of her photographs. St Thomas's Hospital in 1949, and that was the year I was born. And here she is with the babies. Let's see if you can see that. With the babies. The baby's taking an airing. She was a midwife before she became a matron. And here's a couple of photos she put in her album. Twins. I'd love to see where they are. Baby Teresa. Our 2-pounder. Wow, that was something. 3 months. A little taddy baby here at 3 months. They must have been nursing them. She's got a beautiful shawl. Oh, she's a diddy. Ruby with the smallest and the whopper for me. So that's lovely. And then I think while she was training to be a midwife, pupil midwife, this is her book, her case book. I thought it was interesting. She had to fill everything out, obviously, because she was training. And some of it was the situation of dwelling. So she's doing home births. It's just like Call the Midwife, isn't it? 4th floor of modern block of flats, 4 rooms and bathroom, service lift to all floors, excellent condition, newly painted and dry, very clean and tidy. Preparations for the mother complete, well arranged, on small table. Preparations for the child excellent, new baby clothes, drop side cot, the name and address of the husband, and the social services required, antenatal clinics, milk and vitamin scheme, national health and maternity benefits, maternity box, free midwifery service, free drugs and analgesia. Yeah. This is 1952, so we've got the NHS. Husband's occupation, driver, not the woman's occupation. She's age 30, but it only gives a case number, not the name. Very well prepared, a small cot. House, 1st floor, moderate sized room with good window and lighting. Everything immaculately filled out. There's one here though, it's a little bit different, I thought. Yeah, a padded drawer for cot. Well, they grow out of them so quickly, don't they? I know Tommy's grown out of his already. I'll show you the pages, the small writing. Can you see that? Everything well detailed. So that's something I drew from my hamper. Woking Maternity Hospital, Woking, Surrey. That's where she was training. Okay, so shall we go off and do the fascinating fact? I'll see you the other side of that. The adult humpback whale is bigger and heavier than a city bus. Still, this colossal mammal is remarkably agile when diving and turning. How can the humpback whale be so nimble? Part of the secret lies in the bumps on its flippers. Most whales have flippers with smooth leading edges. However, the humpback whale is different. It has uniquely large bumps on the leading edge of its flippers. As the humpback swims, water flows over the bumps and breaks up into a multitude of vortices. The bumps channel the water flow and create turbulence. This turbical effect provides the whale with more lift, allowing it to tilt its flippers at a high angle without stalling. At high angles, these bumps also reduce drag, an important benefit for the humpback's long flippers, each being about 1/3 of the whale's body length. Researchers are applying this concept to make more efficient boat rudders, water turbines, windmills, and helicopter rotor blades. Well, I hope you enjoyed that fascinating fact for this week. So, what's next? Well, I was just going to read you my story, but before I do that, I have had some people say that they enjoyed transactional analysis, which I started in episode 12, and it's sort of petered out because I've got to think about where I'm going next with it. However, I did have some requests that I put them all together, so I'm in the process of separating them from the episodes and making them into a playlist, just the 10-minute bits, so they're all in a playlist so you can go and watch transactional analysis. Hopefully I'll be finished that this week, and then we can start building again with that. So that's in my thoughts for the not too distant future. So I had Tommy this week, and it was a joy. And also this week, which was a joy, was I was mentioned on somebody's podcast, and it's called 3-Ply Podcast, and it nearly made me fall out of bed because, some people say, oh, well, I've been watching this or watching that, but yes, they did a very good job of advertising me. So thank you, girls, and what fun they are. Well, we've just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like 9 to 5. And, all we keep saying now is obnoxious because that's what she said. She said, I'm a gentlewoman from across the pond and they're just over that side and obnoxious. We have laughed and laughed and it's really been such fun. So if you do want to laugh and you want to have a knitting podcast, three-ply podcasts, that's what they're called. Well, I was so taken with this. The next day after finding you, I had Tommy. And so I just sat chatting away to you with Tommy on my lap. But I didn't really think it appropriate to post it because, there's a lot that watch that aren't three-ply podcast. So I just took all that waffle out. And it's Tommy, really just a little bit of film of Tommy blowing raspberries. So I'll put that up here and we can have a laugh. Look at my little Tommy. He's come for the day. And we've been watching Three-Ply Podcast and he's loved it. He's chopped in all the right places. He's definitely agreed with me that I need to knit the lovebird sweater. Yes, so here he is, my big boy. Wow. Well, a big boy. Isn't he gorgeous? Yes, he's a gorgeous one. Chatting away, smiling. We're going to take him out for a walk now so he can see the sea. What are you going to say? Oh, really? What's you going to say? Look, he's trying to stand up. I wish you could see. He is standing here. Look, he's absolutely standing. Right. Righty-ho then. Take this out. Ooh, he must be teething. It's not one thing, it's another. It's a beautiful view and we can see all the horses that we see round in the fields round there. They put them here, but all the leaves are on the trees at the minute. And my favourite month is May. Absolutely my favourite month is May. Oh, he's a joy. He's an absolute joy. And I've got him tomorrow for the day as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And if any more film comes from that, that'll be going up for next week. So with Mum, we started at 1926, talked about her childhood, talked about how she met my dad. And I did write a little bit about how she met Dad, and that's in a playlist entitled My Story, if you wanted to listen to that first bit. So now we've got up to 1958, 1960. So I've just sort of made a synopsis of that, and I thought I'd read that to you. We started at when did we start? 1943, I think, when Mum met Dad and got married in 1944. And we went up to when we were living in Harlow. But they had to move. And if you listen to the first little snippet, you can see why. It was just too far for Dad to travel into London. So I'll carry on. I was nearly 5 and can remember arriving at our new home and feeling so excited. Our flat was on the ground floor. We had a small square kitchen, a bathroom with a temperamental geyser, 2 bedrooms and a sitting room. The kitchen opened onto a large communal garden that nobody used except us and the Dennises who lived next door. There were 8 horse chestnut trees, and I'd gather up the conkers and take them into school to share out. I enjoyed living there. I loved riding my bike, shelling peas under the trees, and playing camp in the long grass. The winters were freezing cold, and we often had snow, so on those days I helped Mum with the washing. She had a small machine with a wringer that folded inside. When the heavy sheets were clean, we'd yank them out with wooden tongs and catch the corner in between the rollers. They'd be put in the sink for rinsing and then would wring them again. What with the boiling water and possibility of getting my fingers crushed, it must have been a job Mum would rather have done by herself. But if I was around, there I was, willing hands. After the washing came the drying, and unless it was raining, winter or summer, it would be hung out. The next day Mum would be ironing and folding the clothes over the horse to air. The smell of the clean washing, Mum in her pinny, and the general homeliness often overcame me, and going back to school after lunch wasn't easy. She didn't go out to work, but worked very hard in the flat doing housework, shopping, looking after us all, and entertaining her friends. Her diary tells us that friends were always popping in. Across the road was Bruce Castle Park, and this was my shortcut to Parkside Preparatory School, which taught children aged 5 to 11. The uniform was brown and yellow, brown skirt and blazer, cream viola blouse and a yellow badge. The small school was privately run and with just 4 classrooms was very welcoming. My first memory was in a downstairs room overlooking a pretty garden, learning my ABC. My school report says, "Penny seems a little weary." The day my brother Chris was born, January the 9th, 1956, I was taken to Nanny and Grandpa's house. "Ethel," I remember him saying, "get some ice cream, Neapolitan, we'll celebrate." A packet of wafers and some tinned fruit. What a treat. Teas with them were winkles, cockles, jellied eels, plenty of salad, celery in a pint glass, and some bread and butter. Nanny had a large fridge with blocks of ice stacked in the top compartment. I was enthralled by this. We didn't have a fridge until I was 10. Rationing was still in force, although food more plentiful. It was 1958 before it was totally lifted. I loved our visits to the clinic. We'd come home with bottles of rosehip syrup, jars of cod liver oil and malt, and dark blue bottles of extremely thick concentrated orange juice, which had a taste all of its own, all free of charge. Dad was busy at work but bought a movie camera and found time to take films of us all. He also took photos that we developed together. Mum would be knitting and we'd be in the kitchen swooshing the photos around in the fixer and then hanging them on a line to dry. Holidays were sometimes with my nan and granddad and Anne, my dad's youngest sister. I loved them, playing in the sea, sleeping in the fisherman's cottage in Mevagissey, Cornwall. Family holidays were at the Isle of Wight in a holiday camp, Gurnard Pines. Dad would join in all the games and Chris entered the baby competition. After the war, these holidays were popular. Occasionally Dad would take us out on a Sunday morning to Ali Pali or Trafalgar Square, where we'd feed the pigeons, and then on to Buckingham Palace to watch the guards march up and down. I joined a ballet and tap class and progressed at school through the classrooms. My report says good at nature and English, but not maths. One day a reporter called at the school and asked for a girl and boy to have their photographs taken for the local paper. I was chosen, along with Philip Cohen. We went into the garden of the local almshouses, and standing under a cherry tree in full bloom, we were told to put our arms around each other. The caption was, "In spring, a young man's fancy turns to..." In 1959, I sat the 11+ exam. I almost passed, which means I failed. I worried about the new school I would attend, but I needn't have done because in March 1960, we moved, a new area and a new house. So that sort of sums up Mum's chats that I've had with her lately, and we'll be starting a new era. We'll be rounding off 1958 to 1960, and then we're starting a new decade. I was 11 in 1960. And yeah, I got married in the 60s. I got married in 1968. I was 19. So it won't be long before I've caught up with married life, which seems a long way away from what I'm reading here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been a little bit different. Just me chatting. No Pete, no Mum. But hopefully we'll catch up with them next time. So until then, you take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Well, I just had to come back on because last night I was editing the film and I noticed how I kept talking about Tilly's mouth. Tilly's mouth. Why am I talking about Tilly's mouth when I was supposed to be doing Tilly's nose? And of course, that's what I wasn't quite happy with. When I looked at her, I'd embroidered it too low down. And when I looked in the book, it's a nose. So, of course, there it's been undone, and she's now got a nose and not a mouth. Here she is. She's looking much better. Hello. And also in the book, it talks about Tilly's tail going through her dress. We've got buttons down her dress so that the last button can be undone to put the tail through, and then it sits nicely with the French knickers. And I'm very happy with her now. She looks right. She looks just like Tilly should. So, isn't it strange how you must get something in your head? It's a mouth I'm doing. No, it's a nose. So I thought she'd come back on and say cheerio and see you next time. Bye.